Hello, hello. We are here for SSSDL Season 2, Weeks 1 and 2 recap. Some of us thought it may never come. We never thought we'd see a recap video ever again. And that's partially true to an extent. I've decided watching all of the games and reviewing them is it's really tough because I think it's important to give every game the amount of detail it deserves and analysis that they deserve. But it is really grating to sit there and watch 7 games back to back and give them that much effort. So we're doing no more with that, but I do want to continue doing things like awards, and I've even added things like power rankings. So maybe I will go to like a weekly format. If you guys like the weekly format where I just do awards and then I do the bi-weekly stuff at the end on those bi-weeks, then we could do that, but kind of depends. If you guys just like every 2 weeks, then I might do that as well. So with that being said, we got 2 weeks of stuff to recap from the first 2 weeks of Season 2. First, just a quick look at our standings. It's been an interesting 2 weeks, but nothing too crazy. We've only got 4 undefeated coaches, with Whack at the top at plus 11 after a 6-0 in week 2. Ystream at 2-0, Ryan at 2-0, and Bastia at 2-0 very impressively. And then we got a lot of 1-1, which I love to see, and then we got a few 0-2s down at the bottom, so we'll see how that changes throughout the season. And yeah, we will go over power rankings a little more later in this video, and then like for those who don't end up watching the video, I will post them in the power rankings channel. But I'll make you watch my video for like the next, 6 hours, and then I'll actually post them. But the power rankings themselves don't directly reflect standings. There's a lot of intangibles that go into play, a lot of like opponent strength. Like for example, I think like me versus Chalk, right? We have the same record, but I have a higher differential. But I think his loss was to someone higher in the standings, right? He lost to Ryan versus I lost to a Bastia. So at the end of the day, I think that puts Chalk ahead of me in the week 2 power rankings, for example. So there's going to be stuff like that, as well as other intangible factors. But I think it's pretty cool. But I think we've got a good standing so far. And nothing like, no one's quite running away. Of course, it's only been 2 weeks, so it's hard to run away. And I guess plus 11 is as close to running away as you can, because plus 12 is running away. So shout out to Wacka for that. I expect to see a lot of these bottom teams bounce back in a big way. While I'm not going to go over every single game, I will give a quick recap of every single game if you didn't watch them. I've watched every single game. I've watched every single game in SSSDL history, and that will never change. I've watched all these games, so I'll give you a quick recap in case you missed them and you're just curious. But, nothing too crazy. John versus Phoenix week 1. This wasn't too crazy of a game. It was a really good showing by Phoenix, though. As one of our teams that didn't make the playoffs last season, this was such a good way to start his season. He brought all 3 of the legendary dogs, which is very fun. And yeah, all his mons kind of did pretty good. I know what I remember is Val stood out as a good player. The second game here, Powerful versus Dunkasino, was one of the best games of the week by far. It was extremely close. One of 2 games that was a 1-0 differential. And I believe this one came down to like a roll of like less than 5 on like a close combat onto Ting Blue, if I remember right. But this one was super, super close. Dunkasino and Powerfield both played well in it. Really liked that game. The next game was Sam versus Ryan. This was a pretty good game for a 3-0 game. It really came down to how well Sam could use his rain turns with Pelipper. It came down to like Ryan didn't really have a good Pascu Legion answer, but Sam could not abuse the rain turns long enough because of the Weather Rock ban. And so Pascu Legion ended up slowing down when it ran out of rain, and then I believe Nihiligo just kind of cleaned up from there. Chalk versus Chickadee was also a pretty good game, if you ask me. Regirock was doing really good in the beginning, and then it really became the Whimsicott show and the Magneton show, from what I remember. And yeah, Chalk upset Chickadee real quick, and that's pretty cool. Wacka versus Ystream was probably the most one-sided game of week 1. Wisdom just really didn't have a way to break Florgus in particular. I mean, he tricked it Black Sludge, and then he got it tricked back to him. He did have some cool tech, though, where he killed Diggersby with Return Porygon 2, so that was pretty cool, but it was a pretty one-sided affair in that one. Next, we got Abastra versus Jaden. My game. This game was definitely an interesting one. I felt like I was in control for most of the game, and then when it mattered most, You know, some of those things kind of come back to beat you. I definitely played more risky than I should have. I was definitely trying to, you know, gain differential because I thought I had it in the bag. And then, you know, sometimes you get crit, sometimes you get crit, sometimes you get paralyzed, and then sometimes you get frozen. So it was a pretty rough game, and it was a great comeback by Bashta. Great showing for him in week 1, and Inteleon picked up like 5 kills. It was pretty nutty. And then our last week 1 game was McGriddleso versus Ystream. Great showing for Ystream. Big 4-0 win over a playoff team from season 1. I don't remember actually too much about this game, but yeah, go Ystream. Cool, with week 1 recaps out of the way, now we'll quickly get into the week 1 awards, and then we'll do game recaps for week 2, and then we'll do week 2 awards. So kind of back and forth here for me. But with the week 1 awards, let's get it started. Same awards as last season. I thought about adding some, but for now, I think I'm just going to keep it as is. Although I did kind of update this screen just a little bit, add a little more info, so hopefully that's cool. Our first award is going to be the low tier of the week was Whimsicott. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't really consider Whimsicott a low tier, but none of you guys brought low tiers this week. So by proxy, I guess it is Whimsicott. And I guess there aren't a lot of low tiers that were even drafted. I was kind of looking at it. There aren't a ton of things that would have qualified the same way they would have last season. Last season we had Knackle Stacks and we had Lunatones popping off every week. We don't have as many of those mons drafted this season, so I'll have to go about fixing that next season. But Whimsicott had a great game. 3 kills from Whimsicott rarely ever happens, so shout out to Chalk for that. That's just impressive from like what's typically a utility mon. It picked up 3 KOs, so that's really cool and helped him secure the win. And our next award is going to be the first Terra Cap of the year for week 1, and it's going to be Aerodactyl from the Joltik Jewels and Power Fable. I believe it was Terra Ground, and had Earthquake to take advantage of that, and it went pretty hard. 2 KOs, helped him secure the win, and that's really all you can ask for out of your Terra Cap, right? Our next award is going to be Heat of the Week, and it's going to go to Wisdom's Porygon 2. I believe this is Wisdom's first time winning Heat of the Week, and while he could not secure the win, and in fact Porygon 2 was his only kill, it was running Return Stab Physical attacking Porygon 2, and it knocked out Wackus Diggersby. Our next award is going to be the Pokemon of the Week, the most prestigious award. It is going to Abashta's Inteleon, which of course, through merit, through skill, and through talent, destroyed my team and ran through my team and got 5 KOs and a freeze to cap it all off, and secure the comeback win for Abashta and the Hearthome Haunters. Very cool stuff from Inteleon. Definitely put it in an MVP running off rip. 5 kills is a lot of kills. So that's pretty cool stuff. If Inteleon comes to more games, you know, has serious chance at awards. But of course, you got to win your games. And then lastly, you got the game of the week, which is going to be Power Fable versus Dunkasino. It was a 1-0 game. It was super close. It was super intense, and it was super fun. Really came down to that final roll. Yeah, so good first game of the week. Loved it. And that means we are back here at the schedules looking at the week 2 games. First, we have Sam versus Power Fable, which was another amazing game, if not better than Power Fable's week 1 game. This one also came down to a 1-0 differential, in where because Sam preserved his Chi and Pow and negated his way around threats, he was able to break through Power Fable's strong defenses at the end because he had Sucker Punch Chi and Pow with Choice Band, and it was just enough to let him roll through the end of Power Fable's team, and it was super intense and super close. Very fun game. Then we had Abashta versus Phoenix, which was a pretty fun game. Definitely the highlight of the game was watching Iron Jugulus click Meteor Beam and then knock something out, and then I remember Dio Speed coming in and killing Iron Jugulus with Meteor Beam. Loved that. It felt like Abashta had control of this game from about halfway into the end. There was a point where like Audino came in and megaed and it got kind of close. Do I have normal Audino on here? I might have to edit that. I might have messed up. I'm pretty sure it's Mega Audino. Came in and it clicked Calm Mind and things got kind of scary. But I think really he had it under control the whole time. Ogre Palm was going crazy. Dio Speed was great. It was pretty cool stuff. Then we had Chalk versus Ryan. Felt like Ryan had control of most of this one. I think it was a little more separated than the differential says. Rabombi was a fraud, got killed by Steelwing Dragapult, which was pretty cool. If Chalk had won the game, I think it could have been a contender for Heat of the Week. But, you know, I think that's kind of fun. And then we have Wisdom versus Chickadee, which was actually a super good game. Definitely in contention for Game of the Week in Week 2. Super, super close. And, you know, it really felt like SSSDL was going to win early, and then Wisdom just wasn't clicking Automatize. But then Iron Boulder came in and got a crit. I don't know. It was just kind of crazy, and it came down to that last mon. But Darmanitan did clean up and do business, so that was pretty sick. John versus Ystream. I think this one's also a little more separated than differential says. Sharpedo was doing its thing for John, and he did have a final Gambit Dugtrio, which was heat and kind of ass, but it was pretty cool. Cool brain there from John, I suppose. And then Cyclozar just kind of did its thing. No real normal switch-ins for John. Past, I guess, Cradley, but, you know, did not help him in not losing to Terra Normal Cyclozar. Then we have me versus Don Casino. I haven't posted my video for this one yet, but it was a very fun game for me. I did sack my Lando very early to a Mamoswine Icicle Crash, and then I was kind of just playing from behind for a little bit there, and then I got a little lucky with a burn towards the end, and managed to pull through. But I brought Relic Song Meloetta, which, you know, I will never bring again probably. I didn't realize how garbage it was, but it was pretty cool. It helped me take out his Shaman and another mon, I can't remember which one. It was really good in helping me stop the momentum. Mamoswine was just kind of running through my team. I did not prep adequately enough for that. And then Volcanium was also awesome for me. It was like a defensive goat. And then McGriddleso versus Wacka was an interesting one. It was our first 6-0 of the season. I believe we only had 1 or 2 last season. And we've got our first one here in week 2. I think Wacka made a prediction, turn 1, click Psychic Things as McGriddleso hard, went into Great Tusk. And then basically, I think he got another kill with Lycanroc, and then he brought out Superior, and then Wacka went into Thundy, and Thundy had Mirror Herb for Superior's Leaf Storm, and then it kind of just swept from there. It was pretty sick, and yeah, Thundy picked up 4 kills. Now we are here for the week 2 awards, and let's get it going. Not much more to be said. Our first award is going to be the low tier of the week, and it's going to be Fortress. Kind of like last week, there weren't that many options to pick from. And of course, Fortress is here, and it got 0 kills and a death. But it very easily could have had a kill, but Sam played it smart. It outlasted an Iron Moth that was on like 20% because the Moth had Life Orb, I think. And Fortress, you know, it knocked it down to 10 via it having Sturdy, so it ate the Fiery Dance. And then Sam just set up spikes on it twice and let the Moth kill itself. It was pretty cool, so I liked Fortress for that. Anytime a quad week Pokemon beats a high tier Pokemon of that type is pretty sick. It's pretty sick, so despite the stats, it was a good utility and defensive performance from Fortress. Next, we've got the Terra Cap of the week. It's got to go to Cyclozar. There weren't a ton of amazing options, nothing that wowed me, but Cyclozar kind of came in and just like beat John. Terra Normal. I can't believe I'm saying it. The worst Terra of all time, Cyclozar, and the worst Mon of all time, is doing pretty good. Ystream says he's going to win MVP with it. That's a good start. 2 kills in its first game. Can't complain with that. Next award is going to be Heat of the Week is going to me for my Meloetta. Originally, I wouldn't have given this to myself, but I realized how garbage that Picaret Meloetta actually is. Pirouette Meloetta. Because I thought the form changed when it switches. It doesn't stay. It doesn't stay. It stays this garbage form, so I think that makes it deserving of heat, because I don't know why anyone would ever run this. It still picked up 2 KOs for me because of the speed tier. It's 1 base speed faster than Shaman Sky, and it was able to just come in and kill Shaman Sky. And once I got it going, it helped me stop Mamoswine, and then it also picked up another kill. Pretty good stuff from Mello this week. And then lastly, well, not lastly, but the Pokemon of the week has to go to Thundy T for picking up 4 kills and being a cool set with the Mirror Herb versus Superior, and picking up those 4 kills and securing the sweep, the Schmixo for Wacka. And that leads us to our game of the week, and it's going to be Power Fable back-to-back weeks, this time against Sam, although Sam does pick up the win. Sam goes from 0-1 to 1-1. Power Fable goes from 1-0 to 1-1. Hopefully we get to see them like rematch in the playoffs. I think that'd be super, super cool. But yeah, it was just a pretty cool game. Now that we know how all the games went, quickly want to go over the pick'ems. Wisdom is currently in first, and shout out to him. He got 7 out of 7 games right in week 2. Very, very impressive. And he is leading us with 10. And right behind him is actually Dunkasino, one of our new coaches. He's got 9 points because I believe he picked, those upsets when they happened in week 1. Week 1 was tragic. No one scored higher than 4. That is pretty rough. There were some big upsets, though. And then, week 2, everyone did pretty good. 3 was a good score last week, and 3 is still a good score. But we did have some 4s and some 5s, which are fantastic. Everyone who got 5, besides Sam, is currently tied for the 3rd place spot at 8 points. 9 and 10, it's really between Dunkasino and Wisdom right now. It's their spot to lose if they don't get every single game right for the rest of the season, but hats off to them. Just a really quick look at our kill leaders. It's going to be Wackus Thundy T at 6-0 in 2 games. Abashta's Inteleon, 5 kills versus me in week 1. Didn't come in week 2. Samke's Chien Pao at 5-1 in 2 games. Phoenix's Iron Val at 5-1 in 2 games as well. And then Mamoswine at 5-2 in 2 games. And then shout out to Ystream's 4-0 Goldengo as well. Now, really quick, you are looking at the week 0 power rankings. The week 0 is just based purely off of how you drafted and how I ranked your team in the post-draft PRs, and then the rest of it is going to be based on how your season is going. And with that being said, we can look at the week 2 power rankings, get ready to see where your team has moved. Here it is. We got little things to show you how much people went up and down. Lots of movement. The only person who stayed at their spot was Ryan at 2. But of course we got Wacka at 1 because he's plus 11 at 2-0 at the max of plus 12. He's going to sit firmly there for now being big. The biggest jump is going to be Ystream, jumping from 11 all the way up to number 3, starting 2-0. So hats off to him. Abashta jumps up 3 spots, is also very impressive into the top 4. And then the next couple spots, Chalk, Jaden, Wisdom, all either go up or down 1 spot. Sam drops down 4 spots because of his loss. He was one of the top ranked teams. You have to be 2-0 to stay top ranked. Phoenix takes a nice jump after a commanding week 1 win, but he didn't manage to pull off the week 2 win, but that was against one of the top 4 teams, so you can't blame him too much. Power Fable jumps up a few spots. McGriddleso falls down a few spots. Chickadee is our biggest faller, falling 11 spots. I mean, it's hard to justify. I think Chick's a good player, and I think he's got a really good team, but he is down here at number 12 for now. Hopefully we'll see him bounce back. But dropping 11 spots is pretty tough. Dunk, although you are 0-2, I had to jump up a spot because I think the quality of your opponents is a little tougher than John's. John, unfortunately, you are coming in last for now, but I'm sure you won't stay there forever, probably. And then we will quickly look at the MVP tracker. Right now, if the season were to end right now, Thundy T would be most likely to win MVP at 6-0, followed by Sam's Chien Pao at 5-1, I believe, and then Ystream's Goldengo at 4-0, I think, was the 3rd most likely candidate because he is 2-0 and Goldengo has no deaths, and it's like 5th in kill leader. So I think that's pretty good, all things considered. Hopefully these Mons keep it up. Hopefully we see some cool stuff. I don't know. But yeah, just trying to do fun stuff. Let me know if you want to see bi-weekly recaps or if you'd rather weekly recaps, or I don't know, because I don't really know what I'm doing, but I value your guys' input, as well as anything else you think I could add to Supreme 7-Star Draft League to make it the best draft league of all time, because that is my ultimate goal, and this is my baby. So first good 2 weeks in the books. I will be back for more recaps, hopefully this season, than there were last season. But everyone keep playing your games. We haven't had a forfeit loss yet, so shout out to that. Little clap for everyone. Thank you for playing your games. Thanks for checking out the weekly recap vids. I appreciate you guys, and I love all my little SSSDLers.